Hello again, and welcome to another Real Reviews with Real People. I'm here in the Villaggio Theater in Tampa, Florida, and we just watched a double feature of the original John Carpenter's Halloween, followed by David Gordon Green's new 2018 Halloween. And I gotta say, that was surprisingly a lot of fun to revisit the original, followed by the new one. Before we get to our thoughts, let's quickly cut to the people in the audience. Here's what they thought.
It was incredible. It was an event. Not just a movie, an event.
I thought it was a really great sequel.
It's exactly how a horror movie should be. It shouldn't be all about gore. It should be. It's a classic horror movie, and I loved it.
I kind of enjoyed it. I wish there was a little bit more to it, but at the end, it was a great homage to the original.
I really liked it. I'm not a huge fan of the horror genre, but I really enjoyed that. A lot of tension in the movie. I like the somewhat focus on mental illness. Really cool.
Loved it.
It was good. Very scary.
I thought it was really well done as far as following along after the first movie. It felt the same. It was a little bit slow, but that made it feel true to the original.
I've seen them all. I've seen Rob Zombies. This one was boring to me, a rehash, but a good movie.
There you have it. Mostly only one negative review, mostly positive reviews. I'm here with Valerie and Lynn. We're going to talk about it. I'm Andy. We're here to talk about it. I'm going to go straight to you, Lynn. I know you're a horror buff. What'd you think?
Oh my God. I was actually incredibly impressed. It was actually a legitimate horror film with like a few little minor but incredibly appropriate and really funny comedic parts. And you could really feel the Danny McBride in those little parts, but it wasn't like egregious. It wasn't bad. It didn't turn it into something that you could just like laugh and poke fun at, because then the very next scene would be like this visceral, incredibly like realistic kind of scenario. And it sort of like was self-referential, and it made fun of itself while it was breaking its own tropes, which was brilliant in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun, and I highly suggest watching the original before you do it, because it does almost seamlessly go together as it's supposed to. But when I rewatched the original, I forgot how sort of hokey it is, and it does not hold up through time, and just the pacing and sort of the silliness of the effects and stuff. It's still a good horror film, a slasher film.
Well, I mean, the 70s were rough. That was a rough period
all
for
those movies
movies
back there feel the same. But I thought this one, with it wasn't disrespectful of it, but it amped up for the new generation of the kill counts higher.
Yeah.
It just felt more Michael Myers was a little scarier to art. I feel like for this audience it is. Like back then he's scary, I get it. We didn't have a lot of other scary movies, but I just felt it more visceral. Like he murders kids and does things that you don't expect him to do.
It didn't feel like a blockbuster. It didn't feel like one of those, just summer blockbusters where they're just reviving some old thing and remaking it and being like, oh, okay, well, this is how it's going to be now, and it's just this like Adam Sandler schlock. It was really legitimate and serious about what they were trying to do.
But still had fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which the original did too. And I want to go over here to Valerie. Now I'm here. You've seen the original now. You brought your own figure and everything. You've seen the original over 20 times, you said.
Oh, yeah. I just saw it again last week.
So tell us about you. What do you do? You're a horror fan. Give us something so the audience can learn about you.
Yeah, I've been a horror fan pretty much since I was young. I love all these movies. Halloween's my absolute favorite, so it's a pleasure to be here and review the old and the new.
And you rewatched the old one. You've seen it. You just even recently. Do you does it hold up for you? I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
I think that it still does, because it just freaks me out. I mean, I can see where it was hokey. We were joking about how it was taking them forever to walk home and stuff, and it was kind of just dragged. And then at the end, it was all the action happened. But yeah, I still love it as much as I ever did.
They really do take a long time to get home in the original. There's some really long, slow shots of them.
What, to drive an hour to babysit from across the
street? Convenient hour-long drive for the two girls to babysit across the street. Yeah, but it does obviously strangely hold up. But that said, what did you think of the new one?
I really liked it. I kind of likened it to the remake of Friday the 13th, only in that he seemed to be like on steroids and the kills were so much more brutal. So I thought that was kind of cool. And the showdown with, of course, Laurie Strode was awesome. I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried because they brought her back and she's sort of crazy, but it wasn't H2O level. I think H2O was fun, but not as realistic. And this one,
it was over the top.
This one felt more grounded, and her craziness had a purpose, and without getting things away, but it is she's turns out to be the perfect foe for Michael Myers, and you're sort of rooting for that showdown in a way that I thought really delivered. What did you guys think?
Well, it also wasn't just like a hokey one-on-one kind of situation either. So that was novel.
Exactly. Yeah, and not and some twists. It's fun. What were your thoughts on that final showdown? Was she the worthiest of foes for him?
Oh, I think absolutely, yeah. And I also wanted to point out that I thought it was way cool that there were like a ton of homages to the first one and this one.
Yeah, there really are. I mean, from the pump. I mean, obviously there's the jack-o'-lanterns and things, but yeah, I really do feel like there was a shot where her granddaughter's in class. It feels like the same exact scene as Jamie Lee Curtis in class, and then instead of Michael out in the window, it's her staring at him. They did. It was clear they were fans of the original. Overall, I thought it. I guess, was it scary or funny or both? What did you guys? I found it a little. There were not that many jump scares for me, but I still found it creepy and I still found it really fun and exciting. What was your take, Lynn?
They had the most creative approach to how they did jump scares, because they did jump scare fake outs to make fun of jump scares, and then as far as like actual legitimate jump scares, I counted 2. Really?
Yeah, it felt like there was about 2. What about? Did
Yeah.
you jump at any point?
I think a couple times I did, yeah. But I agree with Lynn. But it was funny too, where it needed to be like with the kids you babysitting.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was funny.
Oh, that kid was the best. That was what I felt like it wasn't like Scream level parody, but it was still self-aware enough that it felt more grounded. And that
Yeah.
kid, the babysitting kid, was to me a standout by far. But you're right. You guys are right. There was definitely a lot of misdirect on the scares and just in the movie in general, which I thought helped a lot. All right, well, let's check with the guys in the back. What did you guys think? Are you guys as ecstatic as we are?
I thought it was great, and I hate horror because it's usually so tropey and it's generic and it's boring, like fantasy where they can't die. This one, you believe a little bit he's human. You could see him slowly getting torn to pieces, and maybe he can take six shots and live. But I mean,
it's true. He's not as superhuman, but he's still super strong.
Yeah.
You can't really. They don't really push it to the level where it's like, okay, we've chopped his head off and he stood back up. They hurt him, but then
Yeah,
it's not like I'm like, oh, he can't get up from that. He
They
could have, right?
Since they retconned everything, they kind of sloughed off all of their over the top superpowers that he got in 2 through 7. So that was nice.
But it still had the funness of like, because some of those sequels are fun just to watch the kills. So I thought they managed to sort of have the fun of that silly sequel, and it really did feel like a solid horror sequel. It's not the original, obviously,
yeah.
but I would say hands down the best sequel. Correct?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is there anyone that comes close for you as a fan?
As a sequel for any of the movies? I mean, I really liked 4. I just watched 4 before I left here today.
It goes to 5, and then it goes to H2O, right? Is H2O number 6 or 7? It's 7. There were 6 of them, and then H2O, and then Rob Zombie's Halloweens, which I skipped. Did either of you watch those?
No.
Did you like the Rob Zombie versions?
I did. I watched both, and for me to like want to walk out of a Halloween was like I couldn't believe it. The second one I thought was just horrible because he just took it to that level where he like made him like a possible rapist, and then he had to have like 800 F words in there because that's just him. So I kind of thought it was a diss to the franchise, but I know he was trying to just completely redo it.
Rev it up. Yeah. Any other final thoughts from the guys in the back?
I really liked how they focused on the mental health aspect of it. Like I said before, Jamie Lee Curtis, playing a traumatized person and how that affects her, how that affected her daughter and then her granddaughter. I felt like, obviously this was not a documentary about post-traumatic stress disorder, but I felt at least they paid enough attention to it, and they didn't do it stupidly. They pointed to it, they treated it with respect, and then they got away from it because it's a horror film again, not an instructional or anything.
Yeah, I agree. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I thought, did a great job. She could have easily become a cheesy, crazy role, and she kept it weighted and really good. You guys?
I think it was William Shatner's finest work. But I really like the fact that they got away with the jump scares. The jump scares are pretty much, not to ruin anything, but mostly fake outs. And they just go with the ever persistent pressure of he's coming and there's not a thing you can do about it.
Admittedly, I was always looking in the background whenever it was dark for a face. Like the entire time I was actually like on the lookout the entire time, just waiting to see if I actually caught something. And a couple of times I did, and it was really, really incredibly well done.
Kevin?
Going back to the Jamie Lee Curtis, I liked how her role from the first one to this one kind of mirrored the Sarah Connor role from the first Terminator to the second Terminator, where she did have that PTSD, but she also prepared for it and trained for it, and I like that aspect. I think it made it more kind of a realistic fight at the end, where it's someone that's been preparing for this.
Oh yeah, that's from Terminator 2. That's absolutely perfect. Yeah, she was a badass, but she was also not like an over-the-top, insane, silly, Mila Jovovich kind of style over-the-top badass. She was just, she's prepped.
I guess my only sort of question, because I'm not as familiar with the Halloween sequels, is his obsession with Laurie, I felt like took more place in other sequels, and it didn't make sense why she was so crazy. I mean, yes, her friends are dying. He was crazed, but there was a feeling of like he always comes back to get me, which didn't make sense because she's not related to the first sister he kills in the beginning of the movie. Am I crazy in my Halloween knowledge? Can anyone correct me? Do you remember by chance?
I actually thought that this happened after the second one, since she was in the second one as well, because that's when it's revealed that she's his sister in 2. Right. So if this was the sequel to the first one, then yeah, you would be totally confused. You wouldn't even know that they were siblings, because she was adopted later by the Strodes. Right. So yeah, it is kind of...
That point was sort of important, which I can't tell if they connected or not, but because maybe we're all wrong and we did it wrong. Maybe you're supposed to watch it after Halloween 2, but I don't think so. But that said, it sort of didn't matter. It's clearly just a good showdown that's warranted, and while the others are retconned, it didn't bother me. Did it bother anybody else?
No.
Nope.
I think this is a good canon. So when we move forward and watch this movie, do we ignore all the other Halloween sequels now? Do they not exist?
I guess maybe we do now. I guess.
So our kids don't. You guys, you only have to watch 2 Halloweens now. All the rest of them don't exist. Well, there we have it. Halloween 2008 from David Gordon Green, and bravo to him and to Danny McBride. Wow, who would have thought? Good job, guys. You surprised us and made a really fun and scary horror movie. Kudos. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for showing up. We will see you next time for the next one we'll do is Bohemian Rhapsody. I can't wait. So come back. Please hit subscribe. Bye, everybody. Oh, Michael, what'd you think? Exactly.